Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T. You like your true crime without drama, but with facts and some speculation based on facts? Then you're in the right place. And if you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Without further ado, let's get started. It's 9:15 p.m. on April 16th of 2023. 22-year-old Mercedes Vega is headed out of her apartment complex, the Aubrey Apartments, off Parkside Drive and Nash Street in Tempe, Arizona. She is dressed casually, which her mother will later say indicates that she was headed out with friends and not headed to work. Security camera captures Mercedes walking out of an elevator vestibule. She's looking down at her phone and is possibly on FaceTime. That now haunting image is the last photo that will ever be taken of a living, breathing Mercedes. Her body was found the next morning inside a burning car on the side of the I-10 highway, nearly 60 miles from home. Now, unbeknownst to Mercedes, a real-life boogeyman was lurking somewhere in that garage, waiting not just for anyone to walk out that door and get off that elevator. This boogeyman had his sights set on Mercedes. He or they came there for her. Now, the car that Mercedes was found in was not her car. Police ran the VIN number. It came back to a woman named Marissa Cole. But when the police reached out to Melissa's family, they said that she hadn't driven that car for years. It had been in an accident and was declared totaled, and it was taken to some unknown salvage yard. Drivers on the I-10 spotted the burning Chevy Malibu on the north hand shoulder of the highway west of Tonopah, Arizona, and dialed 911. One driver reported seeing someone standing outside the car. Was that the perpetrator?
I was trying to report a car fire. He's up on the side of I-10. I saw flame literally inside the vehicle.
There appears to be a dead person in the vehicle.
I believe I saw at least one person outside, yes.
Did you hear the caller say, yes, I believe I saw one person outside the car? Now, that could not have been Mercedes. So was it the perpetrator? When firefighters extinguished the fire, they noticed a deceased person in the rear passenger seat. Detectives from the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit were called. The authorities ascertained via fingerprints that the decedent was 22-year-old Mercedes Vega, and the 2018 Chevy Malibu, as I said before, was not her vehicle. The Arizona Department of Public Safety arrived on scene at 1:06 a.m. A medical examiner would find signs that Mercedes had been harmed in multiple ways. Her cause of death was listed as conflagration, that means a fire, blunt force trauma, and ballistic injuries. Mercedes had been shot in the arm, and shockingly, lighter fluid was found on her face and hands. Horrifically, Mercedes was still alive when the fire was started. There was also bleach that had been poured down her throat. Whoever did this not only wanted Mercedes dead, they wanted her to suffer. For Mercedes' parents, Erica and stepdad Tom Pillsbury, the sudden loss of their beautiful, articulate, funny daughter with the silly laugh was almost unbearable, and knowing how she died has made it all the worse. It was painful to the parents that they weren't even allowed to see Mercedes one last time due to the state of her remains. Can't help thinking about Jay Slater's mother, who expressed a desire to see her son one last time and was not able to do so for the same reason. Now, Erica and Tom last spoke to Mercedes on the final day of their vacation in the Caribbean. Erica recalls, quote, "We were having a blast, and I said, 'It's so bougie. It just reminds me so much of you.' And Mercedes said to me, 'FaceTime me.' And I tried, and I couldn't get through." End quote. The next day, April 17th, Erica and Tom flew to their home in Santan Valley, Arizona. They didn't learn of Mercedes' death until around 7 p.m. that night. They heard a knock at the door and were disturbed to see 2 police officers standing there. The officers asked if Mercedes Vega lived there. Erica kept asking them, "Is she okay? Is she okay?" And finally they said, "No, she's deceased." Erica just started screaming. She said it felt like her soul was being ripped out of her body. Then Erica asked, "What happened?" And the officers could only tell her how and where Mercedes was found. Who drove her there and did this to her remain a mystery to this day. Now, it's been nearly a year, and Erica and Tom still don't know where Mercedes was headed that night. From text messages she exchanged and friends that she was speaking to, it looks like Mercedes was going to meet her friends to play video games at a restaurant called Dave & Buster's. This was the one day of the week that Mercedes allowed herself to go out. She went to the gym religiously every day. Thus, it looks like whoever heard her had to have known that this was the one day of the week when Mercedes would be out and about. And here's a very odd detail. Erica has said that in one of Mercedes' text messages, she wrote, quote, "I just feel weird, like maybe I shouldn't go anywhere," end quote. It's as if she had a premonition or some gut instinct that something was going to go wrong. According to the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Mercedes had canceled personal plans shortly before she vanished from the parking garage, but that is not what Mercedes' parents are saying. They say she did not cancel personal plans. She definitely wasn't headed to work. Now, in her last communication, which occurred on the night before she was found deceased, Mercedes said she planned to go to her workplace, which was about 1 mile from her apartment. Mercedes was working part-time as an exotic dancer in a club called Les Girls, and she made really good money. But before you jump to conclusions about her, let me make this clear. Mercedes was not some hardened, tough chick. She was bright, she was incredibly driven, she loved horses, she worked hard, she loved her parents, her siblings, myriad friends, and they loved her back. The type of girl who actually made a PowerPoint presentation to convince her parents that the family should visit Disney World. I don't want her job to define her. This was a loving, kind girl. She had a lot of friends. She dreamed of becoming a personal trainer and was planning on owning her own gym. It sounds like she would have achieved these 2 goals if she hadn't died. And at the end of the day, this is a cherished human being who deserves justice and respect. Unclear what exactly happened after Mercedes walked beyond the reach of the security camera in the apartment complex's parking garage. A flyer her parents printed up states that Mercedes was hit in the head from behind as she opened her car door. At some point, she was forced into that car, and we know what happened to her after that. I should say we know some of what happened after that. Now, the police were able to gather numerous items of evidence, including Mercedes' cell phone, some gloves, bleach and lighter fluid. There was also a tennis shoe print in blood in the parking garage, and that blood later tested positive as Mercedes' blood. Now, Mercedes' parents believe that this had to be the work of multiple people. However, the authorities won't say yay or nay to that. Here's another really bizarre detail. Mercedes' 2019 white Dodge Charger was located illegally parked on Mill Avenue in Tempe near the Culinary Dropout restaurant. This is about 1.5 miles from her apartment. It was parked and left running, which feels very messy and erratic, unplanned. There is video surveillance footage apparently at that location, which shows the Dodge Charger arriving and being left. However, the police are not sharing any details about who might have been driving the car. Was it a male? Was it a female? Was it more than one person? We don't know. They know, but we don't know. In the months following Mercedes' death, her parents remained silent. But as time has gone on, they've decided to tell Mercedes' story, to talk about her, and to try and find answers. They're very frustrated because they feel like law enforcement either isn't doing their job or they're just not communicating with them. Erica even went on TikTok. Her message is straight to the point. She said, "To the people in Phoenix, my child's killers are still at large. There are people out there preying on your children." End quote. And we have to keep in mind that where Mercedes lived and where her car was found parked and running, that is smack in the middle of the campus of Arizona State University, or ASU as it's known. Mill Road, where Mercedes' car was parked, is a vibrant area. Go there on any evening or even during the day, and you're going to find students walking all around. There are restaurants, there are bars, there are stores. I wonder how many students there, how many parents of those students know about this horrific case, and that whoever did it is still out there. And whoever it is, think about what was done to Mercedes. This is not your average crime. This indicates a level of evil that is off the charts. To fully understand this case, we also need to know that when Mercedes was 19 years old, in October of 2020, she was held up by a robber. The person took her money, her purse, scared her so much. Erica was called to the scene and found Mercedes shaking and terrified. And Mercedes was able to pick out the perpetrator from a photo lineup. And before her death, she wrote a victim impact statement because they did find that person and they did arrest and charge that person. The case is still in court. At the time of Mercedes' death, the person I'm talking about was not in custody, but he was wearing an ankle monitor. The cops say that so far, they cannot link this man to Mercedes' death. Other women who danced at the same club that Mercedes danced at were also robbed in the same manner. Tragically, as of now, the crime remains unsolved. Mercedes' parents are still fighting for answers and justice. Someone with information leading to an arrest in Vega's death could be eligible for a reward of up to $2,000. To remain anonymous, call Silent Witness at 480-WITNESS, which is 480-948-6377, or 480-TESTIGO, which is the Spanish version. That number is 480-837-8446. Tips can also be submitted to the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. And that brings me to the end of today's bed crime story. If you learned something today, please smash that like button, and I'll see you next time.
Mariana Vega is my daughter. Mercedes was walking into her parking garage in Tempe, Arizona, when she was struck over the head and taken and kidnapped in a vehicle. At some point, she was shot in the arm. She was hit again in her front temple and eventually these horrible people burned her alive in the back of a car. If you have the time, please look up the 911 call. You can hear the gentleman say, "There's something on fire in the back of a car." That something on fire is my daughter. It was on I-10 between Phoenix and Los Angeles, about mile marker 85. If you have any recollection or any information, it's been 14 months almost since she was taken innocently, as she was heading out to meet friends to play video games at Dave & Buster's. There's been things said that she had changed her plans. That's not true. There's been speculation and things that people have said about her that are 100% incorrect. My daughter was a dancer. She danced at Lay Girls. She did. She was beautiful and she made great money. But she didn't dance every day. Every day she went to the gym. Every day she put together workout plans. Every single day she would allow herself one day a week to go out and have fun. And whoever it was that murdered my child took advantage of that one day. Mercedes' car was found on Farmer Avenue behind the culinary dropout. Her license plate was LUV 333. She drove a 2019 Dodge Charger. I do not believe she was in that vehicle when it was dropped off there. She was found in a 2018 white Chevy Malibu off of the I-10 mile marker 85 and a half between Phoenix and Los Angeles. If you have any dash cam, any video, any information, any possible help that you can give, it's been 14 months. She was in her garage, in her home. Please, if you haven't heard of this, please look it up. Please look and think and reconsider, like, what someone has to have the key. Someone has to know. It was said by the police that she had changed her plans just prior to her leaving, and then they backtracked on it. They told us that was not true. Her plan, and I could tell as her mom by the way she was dressed, that her plan was to go meet friends. She didn't dress up to go to work. She was dressed to go have fun. I'm her mom. I birthed her. And I can take all the criticism you want to give me for the fact that she was a dancer. But I'll tell you this, if your child does decide to become a dancer, the best thing you can do is support them and be available to them. I was gone for 2 weeks for my birthday on a cruise, and I wasn't here. And I wonder and I question myself If I hadn't have gone, would she still be here? There's been several other women who've come forward stating that they have felt like they were being chased or watched or someone tried to take them. Please share these things. Share them with me. Mercedes was abducted in her parking garage from the Aubrey Apartments. We know that there was blood splatter on the ground in that parking garage. So somehow or some way she was hit. We don't know if she was forced into her own vehicle or a different vehicle. We know she was found in the 2018 Chevy Malibu. Mercedes did not drive a 2018 Chevy Malibu. She drove a 2019 Dodge Charger, which was found on Farmer Avenue, parked illegally behind the Culinary Dropout. April 16th at 9 o'clock is the last video footage we have of her. I do not know what time her car was parked on Farmer Avenue. I do know that the call from the trucker was sent in around 1 a.m. saying there's a vehicle on fire and there's something burning in the back seat and I see a person walking around. That is not something on fire. That is my child on fire. If you've followed this in any way and you've considered this and you've thought about it, when they say Mercedes changed her plans at the last second, that is not true. Maricopa County Sheriff's Office obviously has no clue and no consideration for our family. I haven't spoken to them in 3 weeks. They don't share anything with us. They don't give us any information. I'm begging you for information, and I'm not asking for me. Call Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. If you saw anything, if you have video, anything, please, please. Mercedes was my baby. And I cannot believe I'm going to have to wake up every morning and know she's not here anymore. If you have any information, please share it. There is a reward. And ultimately, anyone involved is facing the death penalty. Even if you were just the person that picked up the person walking around the vehicle, you're at fault. So call Silent Witness. Please, you won't be charged. Can someone please help me figure out who killed my daughter?